Now, the first story that we are tracking when it comes to a Rajya Sabha debate and also about why it becomes stereotypical when referring to the people in the South. A word that usually belongs in a wardrobe has now found itself at the center of political storm in Rajya Sabha, where the lungi has suddenly become an unlikely star of North-South flashpoint. The controversy erupted after CPIM MP John Brittas alleged that TMC MP Sushmita Dev repeatedly referred to him as Lungiwala while he was speaking during proceedings on Monday, and Brittas has now moved the breach of privilege notice, arguing that alleged remark was not merely a comment on clothing, but a dig at his South Indian identity and therefore inappropriate for the dignity of Parliament. The chairman C.P. Radhakrishnan intervened as tempers rose and proceedings were adjourned till 2 p.m. while stressing that there should be no disrespect or culturally insensitive language in the House. But when the House resumed, Sushmita Dev offered a different version of the episode and made it clear that she had no intention to cast any aspersions on the attire of any state, pointing out that as a Bengali from Assam, she herself has seen and experienced the enormous diversity of clothing and culture across India. Now, Sushmita Dev also said that she has known Brittas for a long time, and if she felt she owed him an explanation, she would be more than willing to speak to him, while making a broader appeal that no message from Parliament should suggest that members want to divide India culturally or on religious lines. Now, and that is where, JP Nadda, the senior BJP leader, steps in and offers to bring two MPs together in his chamber to resolve what he describes as a misunderstanding. Now, on the face of it, this would sound like an argument over a piece of clothing, but the politics behind the word are considerably more complicated, because a lungi is simply not just an attire, but it was used to label an entire region and its people. Now, for years, popular culture has packaged South India through a familiar set of comic shortcuts: the lungi, the accent, ayo, coconut trees, and exaggerated mannerisms. And films from Padosan to Chennai Express have, in every different way, played with these stereotypes for entertainment. Now, that may work as a comedy on screen, but Parliament is a very different stage. Because when the regional stereotype enters a political argument, the laughter can quickly give way to questions about identity, dignity, and respect. Well, John Brittas went ahead and raised this matter. Let's listen into that.
That member came here and was disturbing me when I was fulfilling my obligation as a mover of a statutory resolution. Sir, please. And, sir,
Please take your seat. I'm coming back.
please.
I'm coming back.
Sir, the verbal duel is okay, we fight each other. But she repeatedly called me Lungiwala, Lungiwala.
Well, to discuss more about this, we have with us K.S. Prasad, senior journalist, who joins us, Sebastian Paul, ex-MP from Ernakulam, who's also joining us, and Rahul Ishwar, who's a social right activist, is also, in fact, joining us as of now. Now, let me go to Sebastian Paul, ex-MP from Ernakulam. Sebastian Paul, a reference to Lungiwala, probably you have seen through your political career that it was a word derogatorily used, especially when it comes to Mumbai as well, when it was a classification for South India, calling it the Lungi Mafia, calling it the Lungiwalas, because, there was this steady migration towards the economic centers in the north where they were required in some of the companies, they were in fact starting their businesses. But now that derogatory term seems to be, in fact, there in the parliament as well, until, Brittas comes out and openly calls it out, saying that the member went ahead and used that term against me. Till then, it looks like it was okay with everyone. In a parliament where every single terminology tends to be scrutinized, this was in fact let go until the member moved the privilege motion. How do you in fact see this?
The prima facie, the term Lungiwala or Dhotiwala is not a derogatory term. But we are speaking about a speech in Parliament. John Brittas says that an honorable member is repeatedly calling him Lungiwala, Lungiwala. That becomes something of a derogatory nature. We have got parliament some etiquettes. We have a parliamentary dictionary also listing unparliamentary words that cannot be used in parliament but can be used freely outside. So this term Lungiwala was used to identify as a class of people and to at least it has some derogatory connotation which cannot be accepted. And even the chairman of the house wears a lungi because he is from South, he is a South Indian. So that is not the case, but the intention of the speaker to who made this derogatory statement attacking John Brittas, the leader of an honorable member of Rajya Sabha, saying he's a lungiwala, it can't be accepted as such.
Right. Let me, in fact, now go to Rahul Ishwar. Rahul Ishwar, now you are a person who's seen, probably you are lying in those parts of India's economic structure where a lot of firsts have happened. The opening up of the economy, the fashion changes, exposure more to a global village, global culture and things like that. And yet, the stereotypical nature of the South Indian is always shown, especially when it comes to his clothing. And sometimes it's so deeply rooted. We will, in fact, a little later show you those movies through which the stereotypical nature is, in fact, put across. So somewhere in the subconscious of the people, probably north of the Vindhyas, it has, in fact, stuck out to a large extent. But, from that kind of a stereotypical nature, coming to the parliament and classifying it, and then this has got a historical aspect as well, where the reference to the South Indians are kept on their labeling of the dress, is kept when it comes to, identifying them as the other. Is the othering of the South Indian quite there?
That should not definitely happen for sure. See, when a Shah Rukh Khan and Deepika Padukone dances to lungi dance in a respectful tone, and he says, respect to Rajinikanth, it's all good. Because the intention really matters. When Shah Rukh Khan offers that pranam to Rajinikanth, or when Shah Rukh Khan comes down to Kerala and touches the feet of Mohanlal or Mammootty, see, this is all okay. See, then there can be a harmless joke. But here, when it is purposefully used as a racial profiling or a cultural profiling, which is disrespectful, it should not be accepted. And that goes against the very ethos. I don't think anybody from any major party, including TMC or the breakaway section, BJP, Congress, CPM, or anybody will accept it. Because the greatest, the Indian ideologue or the philosopher that the present ruling party adores is from my home state, or Sebastian Spolsars and my home state, Kerala, Shankaracharya. Even if you talk to the modern generation, the biggest Hindi hit or the Hindi movie hit is perhaps, before Durandar was a dubbed Tamil film and a dubbed Telugu film of Bahubali and all. So there is a lot of cross-cultural Indian connection that we celebrate, and we chose to celebrate, and we genuinely celebrate. So, using it in a derogatory way is absolutely wrong. The intention here is the problem. Obviously, the Sushmita ji would not have meant in a positive sense calling him Lungiwala. That's obvious. So it is a wrong thing to do that. That's unfortunate.
But, Rahul, does it send out a wrong message, especially when you have something like, the delimitation happening? It is,
yes.
And then, read it into this context over here. And this comes out at a very, very wrong moment, because it shows some kind of stereotypical imposition saying that you're the other.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. That should not be done. That's the reason why even when I participate in all the Hindi debates, I always remind our friends in North, if a Gandhiji speaks about let Hindi be a link language, most of the Indians without any resistance would listen. Because Gandhiji, being a Gujarati, sent his son down south to Kerala and Tamil Nadu requesting to have Hindi Prachara Sabhas and let us have a cultural connect. The whole thing is intention, track record, mutual respect that they give. Unfortunately, some of the people from the northern parts of India, I'm not saying anyone, doesn't show that. Our PM Modi ji really shows respect. PM Modi ji goes on to say that Tamil is older than Sanskrit and Tamil is the oldest language in the world kind of narrative. So that's a very welcome thing. That's a factual thing too. So we need to have a north-south respect. We may have slightly different historical trajectories, but we are all Indians and humans first. We have to respect that, and any part of India and Northeast also. And many of our brothers from North India has a wrong attitude towards Northeast people, calling them some very bad words which I don't want to express in. Earlier it was called Madrasi hostility towards South Indians.
Exactly my point. Exactly those points. But
There is no.
you'll be
Yeah.
surprised that that is still in play, by the way. That's still
Absolutely.
in
See,
play. That is despite the kind of connection that you're talking about, it's still in play. These
See,
words still in
that
play.
shouldn't be there. We are at the core a nation called India, united by a constitution, united by a freedom movement, father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. So there are a lot of common points we should celebrate. Yes, there are historically different trajectories. There is no denying that. But at the same point of time, we are a modern nation, an ancient civilization built by constitution to a modern nation. We should celebrate our togetherness rather than find out any demeaning remark towards anyone. May it be Kashmiri, may it be Kanyakumari, may it be north or west, see, or east or west. This is a positive point, and I think Brittas sir, beyond politics, should be supported at that point because he raised the genuine sentiments. Whether it is Madrasi, Madrasi shouldn't be a bad term. Madras is a very ancient port down south. Right now I'm in Chennai. So that, Madras aspect, say that respect and intention is the core of this debate.
In fact, respect and intent. Let's, in fact, let Sebastian Paul also into the debate as such. Sebastian Paul, now we have seen what Rahul Ishwar was saying, that there was a need, it should have been in terms of respect. Now, I recently was looking at a film because I was, I look at old movies. I was looking at South Hindustani, and the first shots of those films were very interesting. It talks about the divisiveness that was happening in the country way back then. And the film came out in 1969, and probably you would also be able to know through it. The question about whether Urdu should be there or Hindi should be there. The Tamil agitation was happening during that time. The classification was then the Marathas were having their own. So the first part of the scene talks about how 7 of them came and tried to liberate Goa and ensure that the Goa is integrated into the country. But before that movie progresses into the past, it shows about all these divisions that are there in the country. Sadly enough, we are going to celebrate our 80th Independence Day, and these same issues of othering, he's another person, is still prevalent. No matter what ideologies have been there. We had the Congress there with center-left ideologies. We had left also in play when it comes to Bengal or to a large extent in Kerala and other places as well. But this othering is always there. Why is it so that still on the 80th Independence Day, we have to in fact raise and say this is wrong? It shouldn't have been the case after 80 years.
I also remember that film South Hindustani made by K. Abbas. Our veteran actor Mathu was acting in that film also. But apart from that, on the next week, we are celebrating our New Year, Malayalam New Year. Yesterday, Parliament passed a law changing the name of our state from Kerala to Keralam, which is more acceptable. So it is unfortunate that on such an auspicious day, an honorable member of Parliament was, you have to criticize her for making this derogatory term towards an honorable, her own colleague, her own member. But that apart, I still say that Lungiwala or Dhotiwala is not a derogatory term as such. But when it is used in Parliament to mark a set of people, a group of people, then the meaning of that word is changing. So that is why that is a constitutional term. We the people of India. We Malayalis are also part of that the term people. But here the attempt is to segregate and to condemn a people on for other reasons and other grounds. That is a word used in North India, in Mumbai, especially those Shiva Sainiks were attacking Malayalis there. They're all there. That this Lungiwala acquires a meaning which is derogatory, which is unparliamentary, which cannot be acceptable to us.
Right. In fact, Rahul Ishwar over here, what I understand, what Mr. Sebastian Paul was in fact saying was this, that, you have that Shakespearean speech where you have, this speech by Mark Antony where he says, and still Brutus is an honorable man. And as the speech progresses, you know that it is as if Brutus being an honorable man is actually technically becoming very derogatory as he ends that speech, where you know that it Completely. So over here, when that Lungiwala is in fact used, is it that kind of a sense that it came out in the parliament saying that you are in fact raising, when it came to taxation debate as well, you are in fact, the Lungiwala has a problem. That is what was in fact, so why is it that you South Indians have a problem? Could that be what would have been put across?
Yeah, correct. Let us be honest regarding that. And that should not be the case because, as I told, we are Indians first, and especially as you rightly raised regarding the delimitation kind of exercise, we South Indians followed India's population policy in a religious manner. And right now we are losing out big time because as you know, because of the population and fertility kind of an issue. So we should not be punished for following Indian government policy in a very diligent and due manner. So, and this is a sensitive point, a sensitive spot. Entire South India is concerned because the political representation and the political weight of South India will go down big time, and everyone knows this. This is not a secret. Everyone knows this is a fact. And so we should be more diligent. We should be more unifying. We should have the right tone that is set. For example, as C.P. Radhakrishnan sir himself, he is from the great land of Tamil Nadu. Where we really respect. And even Modi ji rightly mentioned one of the greatest, Indian kings was Chola down from south, who even had empires.
Exactly. No. Since you're raising all these factors, and how much of Chola history is in fact taught in our history books? We don't see South Indian stories coming. Vijayanagar is just one chapter in a lot of places. Chola's history is also just one chapter in one of the classes. I mean, it is something that is there with Chola's naval provinces spoken just by just two paragraphs.
India's maritime history is to a great extent in the last 1,000 years, the Chola's history. So Cholas having, I would not use the word invade, but Cholas or conquer. Cholas had great empires there, and Cholas integrated the local population in a beautiful manner. Many of the temples they have brought and built are still there. For example, Angkor Wat, right now jointly managed by Hindus and Buddhists, the largest temple in the world. So there is always a sense of synergy, and even nations like Indonesia, the largest Muslim nation in the world, where a lot of Ramayana is there, and Ram and Sita are common Islamic names. So, we believe in that synergy, respect, give and take. Let us, synthesize more, synergize more. That is a core Indian attitude that we always take pride in regarding religion, regarding culture, regarding ethnicity, regarding language. So that should be the spirit, and not, demeaning anyone. As Sebastian Bolsa rightly said, the problem is derogate. See, we don't consider Lungi bad, we don't consider Madrasi bad, but at the same point of time, if somebody is insulting and using in a derogatory connotation, whether it is the word Madrasi, Lungi, or I don't know whether you remember, earlier there was something called the Mundu Mafia.
Mundu Mafia, yes. Mundu Mafia was in Delhi, the corridors of our, when Malayali IAS officers and, the bureaucrats were there, they were called Mundu Mafia, yes.
Mundu Mafia. So that Mundu Mafia kind of remarks is unfortunate. See, that's the reason why we need to have that sharing attitude. India's greatness is in its diversity and pluralism, and we should genuinely be respecting it. I hope, that particular Sushmita Dev have, expressed some kind of a regret.
She has, in fact, okay, to be fair with her, she said that she was not, in fact, referring, she is a Bengali from Assam region, from Silchar. She's an MP from there, and she said she is exposed to the large dressing attire, and that had nothing to do with it. But the damage had already been done. You had to come up with an explanation.
One more line, if I can add. Earlier, there was a very senior right-leaning, people from my spectrum, a very leader, Tarunji. Let me be honest with it. Tarunji went to the extent of saying, we are broad-minded enough to live with the South Indians. He ended up saying something like this. So see, that should not be the attitude. We are a nation that celebrates diversity. Diversity is our strength. Pluralism is our soul. That attitude should be there.
Yeah. Sebastian Paul, and I was talking about recent films and also some of the older films that, because cinema being a large medium is there, where the portrayal of the South Indian is always stereotypical. And also one concern that I always had is, there was a very strange incident. That is when Haryana had adopted Tamil as its second language because the chief minister over there was not, wanted to remove the Punjabi language from there. So we adopted Tamil as a second language there. But, why is it that North Indian states never adopted a second language that could have been South Indian or something other than Hindi, so that it would have actually opened up a cultural window of integration? Prime Minister Modi now is trying to, in fact, get the Tamil Sangamams and all that, but it is kind of too late when it comes to the clusterization of the North, and therefore, another cultural window is never put across. It could have been much done earlier, like 70 years ago or 80 years ago. It could have been done much earlier when it comes to the education policy, where some of them or some of these North Indian states should have at least had a South Indian language as a second language, and probably after 15 years they could have had another South Indian language. This would have opened integration, but that kind of thought process never happened at that time. Why?
Definitely, if that happens, that is, the North Indian students are ready to learn a South Indian language, it will contribute much to the integrity of the nation. But what is happening now, there is a very dangerous imbalance. A South Indian student is compelled to study three languages under the three language formula: English, Hindi, and his own language. But what is the advantage of the North Indian students? They are sufficient to learn two languages, one their own mother tongue and the English language. So that is there is an imbalance, a very dangerous one. It will ultimately affect the integrity of the nation.
Right. Rahul, Ishwar, now I touched upon that language integration part of it. I think there is some effort to do something with Tamil, but there are other languages which could have had that kind of adoption to a large extent by the center. But they have realized that Tamil is very important, and therefore you have these Tamil Sangamams that have been happening. But isn't it too late right now? Because some kind of clusterization has already happened.
That should not be happening. Two things. Swami Vivekananda, one of the greatest Hindu Indian saints over 100 years ago, rightly told, before the Tamil, Sanskrit and the other culture seems like babies, in his famous speech, Aryans and the Tamils. It's a matter of fact that Tamil is the older language, and I'm very happy that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has on record said that Tamil is older than Sanskrit. So there was a great Indian civilization down south too. Right now, all the Kiradi and the other civilization was very inspirational. Father of the nation Mahatma Gandhi drew a lot from the Vaiga River incident, where he understood the poverty of India in a bigger way. So it's a cross-cultural thing. A person like Shankaracharya from down south, or all the modern spiritual gurus, if you can see over the past 500 years, majority of them are from south. So this is the cross-cultural connection we have, and that should be regarding religion, regarding region, regarding language, and also regarding language. See, Prime Minister Modi ji once rightly identified that South Indian, like Sebastian Polsar said, South Indians learn three languages. What about the North Indians? What about the three language policy that they have not followed? So there are a lot of questions that are asking, and we will only get enriched by connecting to people more. And Tamil movies are doing a great thing, and you will be surprised to know many Tamil movies, unlike the 60 era, has shed any kind of anti-Hindi posturing. They love Tamil, but they are ready to integrate. They are using some lone Hindi word. Even the word G is very popular.
I understand that. Also, the dubbing qualities of South Indian films have improved, because suddenly the South Indian producers have, in fact, discovered the North Indian market, and North India suddenly discovered the southern film industry to a large extent.
Movies like Bahubali are doing a great thing. Movies like Bahubali, and as you earlier said, the Chola empires, the Chola, Chera, Pandya, Pallava empires, and even regarding China, after Buddha, it was Bodhidharma somewhere from Tanjavur. We don't even know, where he belongs to. Tanjavur, he actually went and created or initiate the entire Shaolin temple. So we should celebrate these things positively, so that we can have that positive mentality of enriching. And I keep on telling my Malayali brothers that it was a great Bengali 100 years ago from like Vivekananda, who actually enlightened us regarding our casteism. It was a great Gujarati Mahatma Gandhi who uplifted our nation. Similarly, other people from parts of, we should celebrate that bonding and togetherness rather than having any kind. And I like Shah Rukh Khan for it, because Shah Rukh Khan very mindfully, respectfully, in a comic way to the masses, convey it in a bigger way. That's the reason why, I don't know if you have seen, remember the Lungi dance song, he ends with the salute to Rajinikanth,
Yes.
who is a great icon of Tamil movie and a South Indian movie.
That is what I was trying to say also. But, probably Shah Rukh Khan can get it right, but then there are others who've got it wrong also.
Correct.
Who got it completely wrong, and because of that, probably those stereotypes are still there. And of course, some of us, say that the word Madrasi is going to be still there as long as it is being used by a generation who's only known that as well. With that, thank you, gentlemen, for in fact giving us an understanding about the situation that we see